So today we're going to look at 4 strategies for overcoming the so-called second verse curse and look at modern techniques for getting down the lyrics for the bridge. So second verse writer's block usually boils down to the fact that we feel like we've said everything in the first verse, the pre-chorus, the first chorus, and left with nothing to say for the second verse. But try the following 4 strategies and you might be able to squeeze out a couple more sentences for that second verse. So number 1, say it a different way. So let's take a look at the verses of Someone You Loved by Lewis Capaldi. The first verse goes, I'm going under and this time I fear there's no one to save me. This all or nothing really got a way of driving me crazy. When he gets to the second verse, all he really does is say the same thing, just in a different way. Strategy number 2, cause and effect. So let's take a look at Katy Perry's Never Really Over for an example. The first verse is the narrator describing how she can't get over a breakup. And in the second verse, we see the effect of that breakup on her life. Second verse goes, I guess I could try hypnotherapy, I gotta rewire this brain. I can't even go on the internet without even checking your name. The third strategy for getting second verse lyrics, write a backstory. So for example, if your verse 1 is about a breakup, use verse 2 to talk about the good times in the relationship. Take a look at the song Good Things Fall Apart. The first verse in this song is the narrator kind of torturing himself with questions, wondering where he went wrong in the relationship. Then he uses the second verse to recount memories of the times that the relationship was in a good place. Strategy number 4 is to change perspective, the point of view, or the focus. So if you're writing a love song and your first verse is full of lines like, oh, I need you in my life, I can't live without you, you make me so happy, then use verse 2 to focus on the object of the story. You can even change the point of view or the narrator entirely. This happens all the time with duets. But you can also do it with just a single narrator. In the song Dance Monkey by Tones and I, the first verse is told from the point of view of an audience member watching a monkey dance. Then the second verse switches to the point of view of the dancing monkey. So a great way to remember these strategies is to simply ask yourself the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, why, and also how. If you ask the narrator questions based on the word what, like, what do you mean? The narrator can then use verse 2 to explain the story in a different way, strategy 1. Verse 2 can also answer questions like, and then what, or so what, by describing the effects verse 1 had on the subject. Questions like how, when, or where did the events in verse 1 occur prompt the narrator to give more detail through a backstory. In a love song, asking who the object of affection is or why he or she is so special allows you to shift the focus to that person in verse 2. Before we go on to the bridge, I'm going to leave you with one quick tip, which is to make your second verses shorter or half the length of your first verse. This helps keep the momentum going and it'll only make your job easier in the end. In the song You Should Be Sad by Halsey, the first verse has 8 lines, while the second verse cuts that amount in half with only 4 lines. In general, pop song verses are getting shorter and shorter. Just take a look at the song Rare by Selena Gomez. The first verse is a total of 2 lines. Now moving on to the bridge. So there was a time when the bridge was its own unique section, but today it's really more of a multi-use section. Lots of country pop artists, for example, use this section for instrumentals or guitar solos, as in Dan and Shay's Tequila. But if your song calls for a more traditional bridge, well, you might find that you're actually working harder than you actually need to. A lot of modern pop bridges consist of nothing more than vocalized vowel sounds. That's what Halsey does in this song, where the bridge has her singing haze and yaz. Modern bridges also use a lot of repeating words or phrases. The bridge of Lewis Capaldi's song Bruises is mostly a repetition of the phrase, your love I'm lost in. Modern pop bridges also borrow from other sections of the song for their lyrics. In Maren Morris's song The Bones, the bridge borrows the first 2 lines of the chorus. Some songs just don't even have a bridge. Take a look at Selena Gomez's Lose You to Love Me. Where the bridge would be, she actually repeats the first verse. So there you have it, guys. Modern pop songwriting is all about efficiency, simplicity, and repetition. And quite frankly, that makes your job as a lyricist a little easier. Alright guys, I hope you found those strategies useful and insightful and interesting. Be sure to subscribe and come back, as the next video will be talking about the importance of song form and song structure. Alright, I'll see you guys on the next one.